There are villages on this planet that should not exist. Not ghost towns or tourist attractions. Living, breathing communities where people raise children in places that would make most of us turn around and never come back. A village where the entire city melts every time it rains and 4,000 people rebuild it with their bare hands before the next storm comes. A village where 200 people live inside a single building because the weather outside will kill you. A village inside an active volcano on a frozen continent where the beach water boils. And a village so small that they ran out of room to bury the dead 400 years ago. So they dig them up after 10 years, paint their skulls, and stack them on shelves to make room for the next body. Most of us would not survive a week in any of these places. The locals have survived centuries, not because they are trapped, because these impossible places are home. And home, no matter how dangerous, is something people do not leave easily. This is our countdown of the 10 most impossible villages on Earth that even locals are afraid to live in. Stay until the end, because number 1 is a research station built inside an active volcano on the most inhospitable continent on Earth, where the beach sand is warm, but the air can freeze you solid. Before we start, drop a comment telling us where you are watching from and what time it is right now. We want to see how many countries this video reaches. Number 10. El Caminito del Rey. Access Villages, Malaga Province, Spain. In the mountains of southern Spain, roughly 50 kilometers north of Malaga, small villages sit on opposite sides of the Gaitanes Gorge, a limestone canyon roughly 100 meters deep with vertical walls so close together that in some sections the sky is barely visible from the bottom. For nearly a century, the only way residents on opposite sides could reach each other without a full day's detour was a narrow concrete walkway pinned to the cliff face. Roughly 1 meter wide, no railing, 100-meter drop to the river below. The walkway was built in 1905 for workers maintaining a hydroelectric project. Over the decades, sections of concrete crumbled and fell into the gorge, leaving gaps bridged by single steel beams, or in some cases, nothing at all. Guardrails rusted and broke, the surface tilted outward toward the drop. Despite the condition, local villagers continued using it daily because the alternative was hours of walking. School children crossed it, farmers carrying supplies crossed it. It was not an adventure, it was a commute. According to reporting by El País, between 1999 and 2000, 5 people died falling from the walkway. The Spanish government sealed the entrances in 2001. A new walkway was built over the old one and reopened in 2015. The original path, crumbled concrete and rusted beams, is still visible below. A walkway 1 meter wide over a 100-meter drop with missing sections and no railing. Not a tourist trail, a daily commute. For 100 years, crossing a disintegrating ledge above a gorge was just how you got to the other side. Number 9. Aogashima, Izu Islands, Japan. 360 kilometers south of Tokyo, in the Philippine Sea, roughly 170 people live inside a volcano. Not near a volcano, inside it. The island is the rim of a volcanic caldera. Inside the caldera, there is a second, smaller volcanic cone. The village is built between the two. According to the Japan Meteorological Agency, Aogashima is classified as an active volcano. The last eruption in 1785 killed roughly half the population and forced a complete evacuation. According to the Tokyo Metropolitan Government, the island sat empty for 50 years before settlers returned in the 1830s. The inner cone still emits volcanic gases. Residents cook using geothermal steam from vents that reach temperatures high enough to boil eggs in minutes. The entire community relies on a single helipad and a single port. When weather is poor, both are unusable. There is no hospital, no police station, no fire department. The nearest emergency services are on Hachijojima, 70 kilometers north, reachable only by helicopter in good conditions. In bad weather, the island is on its own. 170 people cooking on volcanic steam inside a double crater that killed half their ancestors 2 centuries ago. When the weather closes in, they are alone on a rock in the Pacific with no way out until the sky clears. They came back anyway, and they have been staying since 1835. Number 8. Matmata Gabez Governorate, Tunisia. In southern Tunisia, the houses are invisible. No rooftops, no walls, no doors visible at ground level. The landscape looks like empty desert with scattered circular holes in the earth, each roughly 10 meters across and 7 meters deep. Those holes are homes. The Berber residents have lived underground for centuries. According to the Tunisian National Heritage Institute, the homes are created by digging a circular pit into soft sandstone, then carving rooms horizontally into the walls. The central pit serves as a courtyard open to the sky, providing light and air to the rooms around it. According to climate studies by the University of Sfax, surface temperatures regularly exceed 45 degrees Celsius in summer and drop near freezing in winter. Underground, the temperature stays between 18 and 22 degrees year-round. No electricity required, no air conditioning. The earth does the work. In 1976, George Lucas used one of these underground homes as the set for Luke Skywalker's house on Tatooine in the original Star Wars. The set decorations are still partially in place. The Tunisian government built modern above-ground housing nearby in the 1960s and encouraged residents to relocate. Some moved, many did not. The underground homes their grandparents carved remain cooler, quieter, and more stable than anything the modern village offers. A village that solved extreme heat by disappearing into the ground. The government offered them modern houses. They felt the heat, looked at the houses, and went back underground. The most advanced climate engineering on this list is also the oldest. Number 7. Zhongdong Village, Guizhou Province, China. Inside a natural limestone cave 115 meters wide, 230 meters deep, and 50 meters high, there is a village. Not beside the cave, inside it. Houses, paths, livestock, a school, and a basketball court, all underneath the rock ceiling of a single enormous cavern. According to the Guizhou provincial government, roughly 100 people from 18 families lived inside the cave as recently as 2008. The cave provided natural shelter from the region's heavy rainfall and mountain winds that batter exposed settlements at this elevation. The school inside the cave was the last cave school in China. According to China Daily, the central government closed it in 2011, arguing that a cave school projected an image inconsistent with national development goals. Some families relocated, others stayed. There is no running water. Residents collect rainwater and natural seepage through the limestone. Electricity arrived in the early 2000s via a cable strung across kilometers of mountain terrain. A basketball court inside a cave. A school the government closed because it was embarrassed it existed. The families who built their lives inside a mountain did not see it as poverty. They saw it as shelter. The cave kept the rain off and the wind out for generations before anyone outside noticed they were there. Number 6. Coober Pedy, South Australia. In the Red Desert of Central Australia, 840 kilometers north of Adelaide, roughly 60% of the town's 2,500 people live underground. Not in basements, in homes carved horizontally into sandstone hillsides with bedrooms, living rooms, kitchens, and in some cases swimming pools entirely below the surface. According to the South Australian Department of State Development, the town was established in 1915 after opal was discovered. It now produces roughly 70% of the world's gem-quality opal. Surface temperatures regularly exceed 45 degrees Celsius. Underground, a constant 23 to 25 degrees year-round. The sandstone is soft enough to excavate with standard mining equipment. Expanding a home means digging a new room. Some underground homes have been expanded for decades and now contain dozens of rooms. There is an underground church, an underground bookshop, and an underground bar. The landscape above ground is riddled with thousands of mine shafts, many unmarked and uncovered. According to the South Australian government, walking off designated paths carries a genuine risk of falling into an abandoned shaft. A town where people live underground, dig new rooms when they want more space, and walk to work across a surface full of holes deep enough to disappear into. The opal they mine is worth millions. The homes they carve cost almost nothing, and the only direction the town can grow is down. Number 5. Hallstatt, Upper Austria, Austria. In the Austrian Alps, on the shore of the Hallstatter Sea, There is a village so compressed between the lake and the vertical mountain behind it that there is almost no room for the living. There is certainly no room for the dead. For over 400 years, bodies are exhumed after 10 to 15 years. The skulls are cleaned, bleached in the sun, and painted with the deceased's name and decorative symbols. Oak leaves for men, flowers for women. The painted skulls are placed in the Bein House, a charnel house, stacked on shelves alongside over 1,200 others. The grave is then reused. According to the Hallstatt Heritage Museum and the Diocese of Linz, the practice arose from absolute physical necessity. The village is wedged into a strip roughly 300 meters wide between the lake and a mountain rising over 1,000 meters straight up. There was never enough land for permanent burial. The dead had to make way for the next dead. The last skull added was in 2011 from a woman who died in 1983 and requested the traditional treatment. The 1,200 painted skulls remain on their shelves, names visible, watching visitors through the glass. A village so small that the dead must be evicted to make room for the next dead. Skulls painted with names and flowers, stacked on shelves because there is nowhere else to put them. In Hallstatt, death is not permanent, it is a 10-year lease. We are halfway through, and the villages ahead are even more extreme. If you are still watching, hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you do not miss the next one. And tell us in the comments which village has been the most unbelievable so far. Last time we had viewers from over 40 countries. Let us see if we can beat that. Number 4. Huaiyu Island, Penghu County, Taiwan. In the Penghu Archipelago off the coast of Taiwan, there is an island being swallowed by its own jungle while its last residents watch. Roughly 30 people remain. 3 decades ago, there were several hundred. The young left for the mainland. Then the middle-aged followed. The school closed, the shops closed, the houses were locked, and the vines began. According to the Penghu County government, Huaiyu once sustained over 500 people. The decline began in the 1980s as younger generations left for jobs on the main island. Without maintenance, traditional stone houses cracked, roofs collapsed, trees grew through living rooms, moss covered stairways, entire streets became tunnels of green. According to interviews published by Taiwan's Central News Agency, the remaining residents, mostly elderly, describe watching their village disappear around them. Neighbors leaving one by one, houses going dark, the silence growing. A village that is not dying from disaster or danger, it is dying from absence. The houses are standing, the streets are there, but the people are leaving and the jungle is filling in behind them. The most impossible thing about this village is not how people live here. It is how a place can die while everything it is made of stays perfectly intact. Number 3. Djenné, Mopti region, Mali. In central Mali, there is a city built entirely from mud. Walls, floors, towers, staircases, and the largest mud brick building on earth, the Great Mosque of Djenné, standing roughly 20 meters high. Every square centimeter made from sun-dried earth mixed with rice husks and water. Every year the rain comes, and every year the rain melts the city. According to UNESCO, the annual festival of the Crépissage involves the entire community replastering the mosque before the rainy season. Roughly 4,000 volunteers gather on a single day. Men carry mud from pits at the base. Women bring water. Children mix the material by stomping it with their feet. Teams scale wooden poles that protrude permanently from the walls and apply fresh mud by hand. According to ethnographer Jean-Louis Bourgeois, the event is part celebration, part emergency engineering. The mud must be applied before the rains or the walls weaken and collapse. Private homes follow the same cycle. Families that fail to maintain their walls risk structural failure. The city has followed this cycle for over 700 years. Not repaired, rebuilt. Every wall, every surface, every year. A city that melts and is rebuilt every year for 700 years. 4,000 people covering a mosque with fresh mud because if they do not, the rain will erase it. Every wall is a decision. Every plaster is a commitment. And the moment the maintenance stops, the city disappears. Number 2. Whittier, Alaska, USA. In a narrow valley on the coast of Prince William Sound, roughly 100 kilometers from Anchorage, Nearly all of the town's 220 residents live in the same building. One building, Begich Towers, 14 stories. Apartments, post office, grocery store, police station, mayor's office, medical clinic, and school, all inside. Children walk from their apartment to their classroom without going outside. Going outside is the problem. According to the Alaska Department of Transportation, Whittier receives roughly 7.5 meters of snowfall per year. Winds regularly exceed 150 kilometers per hour. The building was military barracks built in 1957. When the military left, the civilians stayed in the building. The town's only land connection is the Anton Anderson Memorial Tunnel, roughly 4 kilometers long, sharing a single lane with the Alaska Railroad. Cars and trains alternate. According to the Alaska DOT, the tunnel closes at 10:30 p.m. and reopens at 5:30 a.m. After 10:30, no vehicle can enter or leave Whittier by road until morning. The town is disconnected from every road on Earth for 7 hours every night. 220 people in one building, one tunnel. Closes at 10:30, opens at 5:30. The grocery store is down the hall. The school is upstairs. The police station is 3 floors below. And outside, 25 feet of snow and wind that can knock you off your feet. An entire community in a concrete box because the weather decided that going outside is optional. Before we reveal number 1, look at the subscribe button. If it is not red yet, fix that. And drop a comment telling us which impossible village shocked you the most. We read every single one. Number 1. Deception Island, South Shetland Islands, Antarctica. And now, the village where humans chose to live inside an active volcano on the most inhospitable continent on Earth. Deception Island is a volcanic caldera in the South Shetland Islands, roughly 100 kilometers north of the Antarctic Peninsula. The island is a ring of volcanic rock 15 kilometers across. The caldera flooded through a narrow gap called Neptune's Bellows, creating a natural harbor inside the volcano. The harbor floor is heated by magma. The beach sand is warm to the touch even when the air is below -20. Between the early 1900s and 1969, multiple countries operated whaling stations, military bases, and research stations inside the caldera. The British maintained a permanent base from 1944 to 1969. In 1967 and again in 1969, the volcano erupted. The 1969 eruption destroyed the British base. Mud and lava buried sections of the station. Personnel were evacuated by ship through Neptune's Bellows while the volcano erupted around them. The base was abandoned permanently. The buried remains are still visible, rusted structures and collapsed buildings frozen in place by Antarctic cold that preserves everything. Today, Argentina and Spain operate summer research stations inside the caldera. Researchers sleep on the island for several months each year, inside an active volcano. According to the Smithsonian Institution's Global Volcanism Program, the volcano is classified as restless. Seismic activity is continuous. Visitors who land at Pendulum Cove can dig into the volcanic sand and sit in naturally heated water while surrounded by Antarctic ice. The temperature ranges from comfortable to scalding within meters. There are no markers showing which areas are safe. The volcano erupted 3 times in the 20th century. The researchers know the 4th is not a question of whether, it is a question of when. And every November, they come back anyway. The most impossible village on this list is not a village at all. It is a research station inside a volcano on a frozen continent, staffed by people who calculated the odds and decided that what they could learn was worth the risk of the volcano reminding them it is still alive. 10 villages, 5 continents, thousands of years of human stubbornness. Every one of these communities exists in a place where logic says people should not be. Cliffs with no railing, craters with no air, caves with no light, deserts with no shade, cities that melt in the rain, buildings that lock you in at night, islands the jungle is eating alive, cemeteries that recycle their dead, and a volcano on a frozen continent where the beach water boils. And yet in every case, people stayed. Not because they could not leave. Many were offered relocation. Many know exactly what the modern world has to offer. They stayed because the places they live, no matter how impossible, are not just locations. They are identities, built over generations, earned through survival, and passed down through traditions that no government program, no resettlement offer, and no comfortable alternative can replace. The rest of the world measures quality of life in infrastructure, in access, in convenience. These villages measure it in something older, something harder to name, and something that, once lost, does not come back. Which village was the most impossible to you? Tell us in the comments. And if you made it to the end, you already know this channel is for you. Hit subscribe, turn on notifications. The next video takes you somewhere even more impossible. We will see you there.